Hey guys, this is Liam O'Neill. I come to you from Arizona State University, and the purpose of this video is to shed some insight on the final paper that is due for my HIV/AIDS class at ASU that is being taught by Dr. Salamone for the fall of 2016. So before writing this paper, I brainstormed many ideas, things like the evolution of HIV to the ethics of eradicating HIV, given that we have astounding achievements in gene technology. But interestingly enough, I chose the ethics of volunteering abroad for HIV/AIDS initiatives. And I do have a personal connection with this. In the summer of 2015, I traveled to West Africa to participate in such a program where I was sent to schools, to homes, to hospitals, to interact and connect with communities and individuals who are burdened with HIV. And don't be wrong, that was a fantastic experience. I was able to see the differences in healthcare and policies, and to really understand on a personal level what these individuals and communities are facing. However, what I was disappointed with was the lack of training involved for myself and the other volunteers, and how a lot of the activities we were doing could be easily done by volunteers, or locals in the community. So that was kind of the purpose of this paper. I wanted to review some other programs where maybe that's a similar issue, and really stress the importance of getting these programs to get volunteers trained and skilled to address the issue of HIV across the globe. And this can be for many reasons. One being the most important is making sure that these volunteers are competent to address such a sensitive issue. Given that HIV/AIDS is a highly stigmatized condition, it's quite important that volunteers understand the delicacy of the subject and the delicacy of relationships between foreigners addressing the issue with locals who are suffering from the pandemic. Because when you introduce volunteers who have minimal training, then you really risk having an improper or poor relationship for both foreigners and locals alike. Locals are not able to understand or maybe misunderstand the foreigner, as well as the foreigners are misunderstanding the locals, and then you kind of miss the trust that is involved and necessary in order to communicate with these communities. As well as, if volunteers are not properly trained and they are unknowingly ignorant to the needs of these communities, then that can really hamper chances of future organizations who actually have skilled professionals to address the issues, to effectively implement the programs and the objectives that they had to eradicate or to prevent the transmission of HIV. So that was one thing that was an issue. I found this in several programs, one program being the GoAbroad.com, where they offer an HIV program in Kenya that they include visits to slums to provide vital supplies of food, medicine, medical care, as well as actually fostering compassion for people living with HIV/AIDS, as well as giving emotional support. And wow, that sounds fantastic. I definitely admire that objective. However, I keep reading, and then I find that a meager two-week HIV/AIDS training course with a section on how to deal with patients and counseling is optional. And actually, believe it or not, the section on how to deal with patient counseling is actually, you need to pay more money. Additional fees are required. And this is, of course, to prepare prospective volunteers. Don't get me wrong, this would undoubtedly improve the competency of individuals. However, there's no way you can properly and adequately address this issue and connect with these patients or these individuals on the level you need to with a two-week training course. And a lot of room for error, whereby foreigners and locals misunderstand each other, and this could hamper future interventions for dealing with similar issues. So not only does meager training really risk that relationship being strained, but I also wanted to look at the economics behind it. A lot of times the international volunteer programs will bring people to regions that are rich with unskilled labor. So when you're introducing more people, volunteers who are equally unskilled, then you really question what is the purpose of this intervention. And one program I looked up was a program, Project Abroad, the one I did, that operates an HIV program in Nepal. And in the description it says that volunteers will play educational games, teach children new songs, read to them, and provide lessons in English as well as other school subjects, as well as to remind them to wash their hands before and after eating dinner and brush their teeth. Now, to me, that seems a bit ridiculous, given that locals can easily do that, and if anything, maybe more effectively, because they are, they understand the different values that are maybe completely foreign for people like myself. And I did a little more research about Nepal. And Nepal recently has been experiencing a surge in out of migration for foreign labor, as well as there was a news article from the Washington Post that had a local named Amit Dong, and he argued that there are no jobs in Nepal, and there is no other source of income for them. So I don't understand, because this volunteer program could intensify what Nepal is already struggling with, which is maybe limited job opportunity. And this program, for example, is $1,700 for just 1 week. And think of where that money could go. You could be going to future programs where specialists could train locals to do the activities that volunteers are doing right now. And so I just ethically it doesn't make sense to bring people who are not skilled into these regions. So I don't say that we should delete global volunteerism in the field of HIV/AIDS. I just argue that we scale volunteers properly so that they can offer something meaningful and effectively address the HIV pandemic that's ravaging so many communities abroad. So thank you for listening to this video. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. You know who I am. Thank you.